Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this talk about Securify. I'm going to mostly talk about Securify and then very towards the end about ChainSecurity. So Securify was created at ETH Zurich by the people that you see on this slide. And you can learn more about the blockchain security research going on at ETH Zurich by visiting this link. So first, let me motivate the creation of Securify. So I assume most of you in this room are aware of the DAO bug that has affected the Ethereum ecosystem. So it resulted in a lot of Ether stolen. So it was a first blow to the Ethereum ecosystem, and it led to a hard fork of the chain. Another event was the parity bug in July, where again some Ether was stolen, and this led again to a diminishing trust in the Ethereum ecosystem. And of course, the most recent is last week, where millions of Ethereum worth of Ethereum were frozen in multi-sig wallets. So what happened in these cases? The first one was an example of unprivileged right to storage. That is, here I have a small contract that you can all understand here. The first variable is an owner variable, which represents the owner of this contract. And then you have an init wallet function, which is supposed to initialize this contract. And using this method, you are able to tell who is the owner of this contract. And then you have this withdraw function, which allows to transfer some Ether. So here you can see that only the owner can send the Ether. So you actually have a check. When you go into a bank, they actually check that you are the proper owner of the bank account before you can do anything. But the problem is here, anybody could say frozen Ether. In secure coding, when you have these unprivileged rights that we have just seen and that have plagued the parity contracts, the use of unsafe input, whenever you pretend that some variables are random and use them, for instance, to run lotteries on your blockchain, and you pretend that they're random, if you have if you have biased machines in your casino, then attackers are going to be able to profit from that and are going to be able to make gains, even though that's what you planned for. So this is a problem as well. Re-entrant method calls, so the DAO bug, which resulted in a big theft. Manipulating Ether flows via transaction reordering. When you go to a supermarket, you assume that the price that you see when you take the product is going to stay the same until you go to the cashier. What happens on the blockchain is that you're going to read the price, and then you're going to decide, okay, maybe I'm going to buy this. But you have no clue of what happened in between, so the price could have changed. So this is really something specific to Ethereum, and it's also the reason why you need more adequate tools to deal with all these new security vulnerabilities. So an answer to all these vulnerabilities is automated security analysis. That is, tools that help the developers to make sure that the contracts are actually safe to use, that can be deployed, and can be read with sufficient trust by people, by the users. So if I were to draw a big drawing of all possible behaviors of the contracts, so you would have everything, and within these possible behaviors, you have a few ones that contain security bugs. And of course, you want to avoid them. After all, these contracts contain Ether, contain real money. So this is really important. Usually, security is an abstract notion for most companies. They think as an afterthought that maybe they should provide some security, maybe it's dangerous, but here the risk is more concrete, and you can see it with the news, with the articles that I've shown before. So the problem with these security bugs is that there are too many possible behaviors, and you cannot go through them all, and you cannot say that you're going to test your contract in all possible behaviors. So you have to make some trade-offs to make sure that the contract behaves in a proper way. So the current security analysis approaches, as of now, are first testing. So you're going to implement a contract and you're going to run some tests to make sure that the behavior is correct. By the way, do implement tests. I've heard recently that some developers even launch ICOs without proper testing. And so, I mean, as investors, you shouldn't trust people who run an ICO like this either. It's really dangerous, and you cannot be sure that the people actually have the little idea of what they're doing. So the good thing with testing is that it reports true bugs. So you're sure that when it raises an alarm, you're sure that there is something that you should investigate. Dynamic analysis tries to cover broader patterns. And so you're going to have broader code coverage. That is, you're going to be able to have a higher confidence in your test, basically. And automated verification can report false alarms, but on the other hand, it will not miss bugs. That is, if it's going to tell you that the DAO bug is not present in your contract. And this is the kind of assurance you want to have in a contract that contains money, that contains Ether. So what do we have right now in the Ethereum ecosystem? So on the testing side, there are mostly two development frameworks, Truffle, Populous, which are respectively JavaScript and Python frameworks that allow you to implement testing and to run them efficiently on your contract. That is, you're going to start implementing your contract, you're going to run a few tests, and then you can go progressively. On the dynamic analysis side, you have Oyente, which was released and which is now developed by Melonport, which tries to cover broader areas. And the topic of my talk today is Securify, which provides automated verification. That is, it can have false alarms, but it doesn't miss bugs. That is, when it analyzes your contract, it's able to provide you guarantees that actually this bug is not present. The unprivileged right to storage is not in your contract, and the parity bug is not going to happen to you. So if I were to summarize in a few words what Securify is, it's fully automated. It's a formal verification system for Ethereum smart contracts. So how it works under the hood, I'm going to just briefly mention the mechanism so that you can understand the power behind it. So we work on the EVM binary, that is, the code that you deploy on the chain. And then you're going to have an intermediate representation from which you're going to extract some semantic facts. And so you're going to be able to deduce some things. For instance, if an account is deactivated, then the balance shouldn't change. So you know it's going to be constant. And then if the bank account is actually owned by a super organization, it only owns accounts that are frozen, then the super organization is frozen as well. So you can imagine all this kind of reasoning that you can do on the contracts, and that have that translate into real world properties. And so from all these semantic facts, you can get the Securify report, which is what is interesting for you. That is, you have this contract that you would like to deploy on the chain, and you don't know how much you want to trust it. And so this Securify report provides you higher guarantees that this is actually what you want to deploy and that it doesn't have the flaws that you were afraid of. So yeah, in short, it's fully automated. It's also easily extensible. I mentioned the DAO bug and the parity bugs, but of course, many more are going to come. So the aim of the platform when it was designed, it was to keep it extensible so that it would be future-proof. So especially with the improvement on the Solidity language or Viper or the new language that are going to come, it was really important to keep it extensible. And also, we do not know yet what the future contracts will be. Many of them are just basic wallets, ICOs these days, but of course, more sophisticated cases are expected in the future. So it was important to keep it extensible. So from this Securify tool, which is really a research tool, as you could have seen from before, the startup ChainSecurity was created. So it's based in Switzerland, actually in Zurich. And so there is really this link between automated tools. So you've seen that the point is really to give your contract, let the computer run on it, and figure out what's wrong with it, and then get the report, and so that the developer can actually work on it and see what's relevant for him. So there's really this automation part that helps us ChainSecurity to do these audits. And so with these kind of products, we're able to provide better audits for the customers. And of course, in doing so, we improve the products all the way. So you can learn more about ChainSecurity here, in particular, if you want to get your contract audited. So to summarize, there was this Securify product which was developed at ETH, which is fully automated, provides strong guarantees, is extensible, and you have a trial version on this website. And from the experience with Securify, ChainSecurity was funded, and ChainSecurity specializes in audits and improving the tool sets to provide better feedback to the developers and make sure that the security guarantees that we have in other fields of computer science can also be provided in the blockchain and for Ethereum. So if you want to learn more about the audits that we do, you can check out the website. You can also just send us an email or reach out to us on Twitter. And with this, thank you for your attention.